Members, staff, and guests to respect the business nature of our meeting. Comments may be made only when recognized, and applause is appropriate only in recognition of an individual, or group honor, or special presentation. Thank you. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Was it worth it?
Move on to number 3, approval of minutes. Beginning with 3A, Board of Education special meeting, April 24th, 2026 is first. I have a motion to approve the minutes from April 27th. Motion. Kathy, thank you. Second, Patrick. Any corrections, additions? If not, call the roll, please.
Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Cloud Ingram? Nope. Ms. Jacquet?
Yes.
Dr. Prunikaran?
Yes.
Ms. Lombardi?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Dr. Oladelay?
Yes.
Ms. Rebuse?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Motion carries. We go to 3B, the annual district meeting on the budget. This is not technically a board meeting, it is the district meeting, and this is on page 6 of your packet. Can we have a motion to approve the minutes of the annual meeting?
Make the motion.
Dana? Second, Megan. Any corrections or additions? If not, call the roll, please.
Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Jacquet?
Yes.
Dr. Prunikaran?
Abstain.
Ms. Lombardi?
Yes.
Mr. McDonough?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Dr. Oladelay?
Abstain.
Ms. Rebuse?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Motion carries. And 3C, Board of Education special meeting, May 5th, 2026. This is on page 8. We have a motion to approve those minutes? Sure.
I'll second.
And Michael second. Any corrections or additions with that? Please call the roll.
Ms. Bradley?
Abstain.
Ms. Jacquet?
Yes.
Dr. Prunikaran?
Yes.
Ms. Lombardi?
Abstain.
Mr. McDonough?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Dr. Oladelay?
Yes.
Ms. Rebuse?
Abstain.
And Mr. Young?
Yes.
Motion carries. We move on to number 4, recognition of our National Merit Scholars 2025-26 is on board members page 9 of your packet.
And if Mr. Hauser would like to join me at the podium.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Now, if you remember last fall, we introduced you to 8 National Merit semifinalists, and at the time, they were in the top 1% nationwide of students who had taken the PSAT last year. Since then, they've each undergone an application process, and they've been further reviewed. And I am proud to announce to you that all 8 of them are back with us again this evening as National Merit Scholarship finalists. So congratulations to all of you. We're going to announce them one by one, starting with Kevin Goop. Congratulations, Kevin. Next up, we have Adrian Kula. Congratulations, Adrian. Next up, and also a recent CIAC Scholar athlete, Nicholas Liu. Congratulations, Nicholas. Next, we have Min Nguyen. You were Arts Award for CAS?
Yeah.
Okay. I should also note, Min was our CAS Arts Award recipient a couple of weeks ago. Next, Astoria Turner. Congratulations, Tori. And Joseph Fatner. Congratulations, Joe. And Fred Zhao. Congratulations, Fred. And finally, Mark-Jan Yukno, who does not appear to be with us this evening. Congratulations, all of you.
And I'm sure, speaking for all the board members, we extend our congratulations. It's great to have you here twice in 1 year, and we wish you continued outstanding work and success. And we move on to number 5, recognition of CABE Award recipients.
Yes, so the Connecticut Association of Boards of Education offer a student leadership recognition annually each year. The criteria for this recognition is a willingness to take on challenges, a capability to make difficult decisions, concern for others, the ability to work with others, the willingness to commit to a project, diplomacy, the ability to understand issues clearly, and the ability to honor a commitment. This year we have 2 recipients from each of our schools, and we will start with the high school, and I will turn it back over to Mr. Hauser.
Thank you, Dr. Byers. So I'm going to be introducing you to 2 members of our junior class who are distinctly different individuals, but there are a few things they have in common, so rather than repeat them in each of their introductions, I will mention that each of them has been on the honor roll every single marking period since 7th grade. I assume probably before that as well, but our records are only for their entire time in Region 5. They're both enrolled in multiple advanced placement or dual enrollment college level courses and have been since they were sophomores. They're both Link Crew leaders. Dr. Byers did mention the importance of service to others, and Link Crew, for anyone who doesn't know, is our 9th grade orientation program. And they're both members of the National English Honor Society, and both deeply involved in community service in and beyond the BOA towns. So that's what they have in common. Now, let's find out what distinguishes each of them. So first we're going to call up Abigail Samir. Congratulations, Abby. So why is Abby here? Abby has been a member of our student government throughout high school, serving since freshman year on the Community Outreach Committee, and this year she took on a really important role. She is the junior co-chair of the Principals Committee. Now, in that role, she, along with the senior co-chair for the Principals Committee, develops the agenda for a weekly meeting between me and roughly 20 to 25 student representatives. She facilitates the meetings. I don't get to put the agenda together and I don't get to run the meeting. That's Abby and a senior doing that. And they co-author the weekly Student Happenings newsletter that goes out to all of our students every weekend. That keeps her busy, but at the same time, she's on our indoor and outdoor track and field teams where, and this was written before the outdoor track season, so it may not be complete, but in indoor, she was already a state qualifier in the 55-meter hurdles. So congratulations, Abby. Our next honoree is Aryan Shrivastava. So Aryan, come on up. Now, one of the real academic hallmarks of our school is the science research program. And nothing says science research this year like Aryan Shrivastava's contributions to it. He's been involved in that program since he got here, where he has conducted independent research into fields including robotics, wearable technology, machine learning, electrical engineering, chemistry, and sustainable energy, and he's still got senior year to go. His work has been recognized at least a dozen times at competitions throughout Connecticut and the Northeast, including multiple first place awards at science and engineering fairs. It may not come as a surprise that he's also the president of the Amity Robotics Club, a participant in the highly selective Yale Pathways to Science program, and a member of our academic decathlon team. So, congratulations, Aya.
And at this time, I would like Dr. Tracy from Amity Middle School Bethany to come on down to the podium.
All right, Amity Middle School Bethany has two wonderful students to present to you tonight. So first, if I could ask Mia Roji to come up. The Gold Team nominated Mia for the CABE Leadership Award. They tell me she consistently demonstrates the qualities of a strong and thoughtful student leader through her willingness to take on challenges, her dedication to responsibilities, and her genuine concern for others. Mia approaches new opportunities with confidence and commitment and is always willing to step forward when leadership is needed, or she quietly leads by example as a role model to her peers. For example, often in class she's willing to offer herself for discussions and recognize her classmates' opinions before her own, which is very thoughtful and very respectful. She often works exceptionally well with others and is known for her respectful and collaborative approach working with her classmates. Her reliability, diplomacy, and clear understanding of issues make her a trusted and respected member of our school community. For these reasons, the Gold Team and I am proud to nominate Mia for the CABE Student Leadership Award. Next, I'll ask Mason Ackerman to come on down. I'm not sure we should be nominating kids taller than me, but I guess this time. Team Black nominated Mason for this award. They tell me Mason readily accepts challenges in his academic work and uses the feedback from his teachers to further his understanding of the concepts that are presented in class. He's a student who consistently demonstrates leadership and is a positive role model for his peers. He approaches every challenge with determination, responsibility, and a strong work ethic. When faced with difficult tasks, he shows perseverance and maturity beyond his years, making thoughtful decisions and honoring his commitments. Through kindness, cooperation, and a positive attitude, Mason contributes to a supportive and inclusive learning environment in his classroom. His teachers say he is a light in the classroom, and he's always walks into class with a smile on his face. Mason's soft-spoken and calm demeanor brings out the best in other students and creates a classroom environment that is welcoming to all. Because of these qualities, Mason is truly deserving recipient of this CABE Student Leadership Award. Congratulations. This time, I'll have Ms. Burke, principal of Orange Middle School, to come on up.
Thank you. Hi, good evening. Again, we have two wonderful AMSO students that we'd like to recognize this evening, and I'm going to ask Katerina Ballas to step forward, please. And again, as I read through the bios, reviewed the bios this evening of the two students we're recognizing, one of the things that stands out with both students is the level in which they engage with the school and the greater community with a purpose to make things better. Katerina is described as driven, reliable, and kind leader whose actions and character make her an outstanding CABE Award winner. She's known for a strong work ethic and willingness to take on challenges that take her beyond the classroom. She's deeply involved in many school activities, including being a peer tutor, peer network, welcoming committee, jazz band, choir, and the school musical. She demonstrates exceptional concern for others as she serves as a tour guide and tutor and actively volunteers both in school and in her community, where she gives countless hours to events including the Greek Festival and Lenten Clothing Drive. Katerina is not only driven academically, she is creative and committed and shines in all her elective opportunities, whether collaborating with peers, honoring commitments, or stepping up to help when others need her. Katerina exemplifies diplomacy, motivation, and dedication, and is inspired to bring others together. Congratulations. And now I'd like to call up Ariana Rocco, please. Again, Ariana was recognized by her teachers for exemplifying leadership qualities that are celebrated by the CAVE Award. She consistently demonstrates compassion and inclusion, often seeking out classmates who may feel disconnected to make sure that they feel they have a place to belong. Whether that's inviting them to group work or literally pulling up a seat next to them so they feel welcomed. She's known for her willingness to help peers and teachers alike. She brings diplomacy, collaboration, and a clear understanding of others' needs to every classroom. In addition, she is a strong student who enjoys learning about history and the world around her and has earned high honors throughout 7th and 8th grade. Outside of the classroom, she plays soccer, sews, is learning Italian, and serves as a peer tutor. In addition, Ariana is one of only 2 8th grade students to recently become teen mental health certified through the Orange Youth Services. She is now trained to recognize challenges and crises among her peers and help connect them with trusted adults. So she's having a huge impact on AMSO, and we thank you and congratulate you.
Never ceases to amaze me that our students, for whatever reason, have a whole lot more time jammed into so many important things to do, and it's great to see the time that they put in doing great things for not only themselves, their school, but our entire community. They represent a lot of other kids who are also trying to reach those levels. So once again, congratulations on behalf of the board. And now I'm going to call a short recess so that any of our students, parents, or anyone who has some homework or something else that they need to do can get that done. Yes.
Congratulations, what an honor. Wow.
And I can finish this second year.
Congratulations. This is important.
Business loan house. The other one? Throw stuff out.
Okay, we move on to number 6, public comment. Looking around the room, I think I recognize some faces that may be here for public comment and know what our guidelines are. So rather than read the whole paragraph, I'm going to ask you to remember the 3-minute public comment and those things associated. If anyone has public comment, can please step up to the microphone.
Hi, my name is Rich Novak. I live in 860 Birchwood Drive in Orange. I don't know if you live there or not. I want to comment on the 8th grade social studies curriculum that's on the agenda, correct?
You can, open comment tonight, you can,
Okay.
you're welcome to comment on any.
So I was just reviewing the 8th grade curriculum that is in the works, and as an educator myself, I appreciate, first of all of the efforts that educators put into this kind of work. I've been on many curriculum committees, and I know it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of discussion, so I appreciate it. I just wanted to highlight a couple of things I saw that I really appreciate, especially the common misconceptions for this unit section. I think this is really a wonderful way of building critical thinking skills. Some of the things that just caught my eye that are really important to point out. The United States was all-powerful at its inception, as a misconception to think about, right? Native Americans did not resist, right? These are misconceptions I'm so glad to see that are in my children's 8th. I have 2 students that will be in Amity system next year. But I wanted to also point out, I'm sure many of you are aware that the state of Connecticut changed the law for the state standards of social studies to include climate change being taught in those standards. This is one of a few states in the country that are bringing climate change education outside of science curricula. And in an era where climate change is impacting so many of us, it's impacting our neighbors right over in Oxford just a few years ago with lethal floods. This is something that needs to be taught outside of science. This is something that I advocate for quite a bit. And I've been working a lot with one of the former educators of Amity, Jim Clifford, to bring that to social studies. And the standard is, that's been passed, is to evaluate the influences of human-induced environmental change had on spatial patterns of industrial and Western expansion. You know, that human-induced environmental change, that's where we can include that. And I didn't see that standard in the document. I didn't see that it's 8GO 9.8. So I'm just wondering, where that is. And I invite you to think about how you might bring place-based strategies to it. For example, the Johnstown flood, the study of that could be something to consider. Place-based education can be very local. For example, a more hopeful discussion of how in the 18th century, oyster farming along the Long Island Sound was regulated. The history of regulation of environmental issues. I'm going to email you all with a whole list of things you might teach. I'm not a social studies teacher. I'm sure that social studies teachers have a bunch of better ideas, but I just want to make sure that those standards about climate change get into the social studies standards.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else for public comment? If not, we will move on to the superintendent's report, page 11. Once again, thank you very much for the extensive report. We all have that in our packets and we're able to read. Do you have any special highlights or comments?
Just a couple things. Last week was Teacher Appreciation Week, and we just really have an incredible group of administrators, but also PTSOs who provide a real sense of community during that week. They literally shower our teachers with food, gifts, recognition. Our students are a huge part of this, and really I just want to thank them for all the work that they do to show how much the work of our educators is appreciated every day. Our seniors have wrapped up their time in our building at least and are off on their UALPs. AP testing started last week and we'll be finishing up this week. And the graduation for class of 2026 is June 11th at 4:00 p.m. Board members are all invited to attend. You should have received a letter in the mail. That is your parking pass. And so if you somehow forgot about that letter, let me know so we can make sure that you have it. But that is how you get some good parking during graduation. A couple of other things that I'll mention are our own Shreya was the statewide finalist for the Rotary's four-way speech competition. So you remember in my last update, she had made it to sort of the regionals, but she has now since won the state. So congratulations to her. I'd like to thank our registrars of voters who came out and visited our senior English classes and registered 100 new voters for our towns, bless you, as part of the work that they do each spring as our seniors turn 18. We had 14 teachers who successfully completed our first year of the Aspiring Leadership Academy. That was primarily led by Dr. Carlson and Mr. Brandt, and their feedback was so positive, they're actually asking to continue into a second year, and we're looking at how we can kind of build two cohorts to support the first and second years of that process. And then what didn't make it in time for the report was that on Saturday night, we held, the Sondheim Awards were held for our musical productions. And Amity had a big night. Vivian Smith won for Best Supporting Actress. Mr. Kennedy won for Best Director. And overall, we won for the Best Musical. So as we have done with state championship teams, we will have our members of My Fair Lady come to receive plaques and recognition from the board. Probably not in this room, because I don't know how we're gonna fit them all in here, but we'll figure that out, and we're gonna try to do that. Mr. Kennedy and I were already emailing this morning trying to figure out when. But that was some exciting news that we got over the weekend.
Anyone have a question for the superintendent?
One quick question.
Yes, Megan.
In the report, it talks about the AP testing and the large number of students taking exams based on, I think it was, for self-studied areas. Is there a threshold at which, like, if you have a certain number of students self-studying something, that you would add the course in the school?
Honestly, I don't know that we've ever talked about that. So I think some of the languages are unique and
Yeah, I mean, like, if
probably
there's
not.
one else, but, like, I
But
know
yeah.
there's a good number of, like, freshmen who take world history, because
Yeah.
there's no AP world history. I know that's one example that's been brought to my attention by a bunch of kids. So I was just curious if that's something you guys look at and monitor.
Yeah, that's certainly something we can do.
Thank you. That's a question. Anybody else?
Well, in that spirit, I wanted to ask about economics as well. Like, is there a lot of interest in economics? I know that down in Fairfield County, lots of schools have interest in economics. I don't know whether that shifts up to New Haven and Woodbridge County, New Haven County.
Again, we can look into it, I'm not sure, and I don't know, I'll send it in my board update, like sort of the number of kids we have taking self-study AP tests, just for your information. I'll try to get that this week.
And I say that partly because I think there is a lot of excitement about science. But somehow I think Amity doesn't do as well on the economics front relative to some of the other schools that I notice kids just talking about it. And it's useful to have them in high school interested in it if possible.
Okay. Anybody else? Thank you very much. We move on to correspondence.
We only had two. One was Amity a letter about Amity travel basketball having access to the gym.
Right.
And then the other one was parental concern with a child's schedule.
Right.
And both of
Just
those
wanna.
have been responded to, just so that you know.
Right. Yeah, just a comment about sometimes we do get a letter from a parent asking the board to act, which very often it has private information that, number one, we shouldn't even be getting, but we shouldn't divulge about that. And I think you handled that very nicely, Dana. Appreciate that. So in the future, if you do see a letter like that coming from a parent, please just make sure that you put it in the back of your head that we shouldn't be looking at that until there may be a time when we actually have to deal with that problem as a board, and we need to wait until we hear that from the administration. Okay? Chairman's report. I'm going to not say anything at this particular time. We still have a long agenda, and I'm going to try and hold the board to our 2-hour time limits and see if we can actually do that, because I have to leave at 8:30 anyhow. All right, ACES?
Nothing to report.
Okay, that's good report. Ad hoc school start time.
Currently, we have a scheduled meeting at the end of May, and we gave quite a laundry list to Dr. Byers, and she is working on that. And so we will have, that's when our next scheduled meeting is.
Okay, thank you. I know there's a lot of work to do, so very much appreciated. Thank you.
Our pleasure.
CABE? Nothing.
I have a quick CABE update. So each summer, there is a summer leadership conference that CABE sponsors. It is scheduled for August 6th at Water's Edge in Westbrook. They typically do 2 tracks, so they have a track for new board members, and then they have a track for veteran board members. If you are interested in attending that, just let me know. They haven't set up the registration yet, but once it comes out, I can get you registered. But again, that is August 6th. And Water's Edge in the summer is a very nice place to be.
Is it similar timeline as the one that was this past spring, like an 8 to 5 kind of thing?
I think it's a little shorter. It's a little more reasonable. I could be wrong, but I don't remember it being. Kathy, you went one week.
I did.
And it wasn't like 8 a.m. to like 5 p.m.
No.
It was.
We had lunch, and I think maybe went an hour after lunch.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you. Communications.
Can I just?
Yeah, no, Kathy.
And it was a good time to talk to other new board members and other board members to see what they're doing in their schools. So it's a good networking opportunity as well.
Okay.
Communications, we did not meet last month, and I believe I have to schedule a new meeting first.
We will let you do that. And curriculum, discussion and possible action on adoption of curricula. We have the 8th grade social studies and Spanish.
Good evening, everyone.
And UConn ECE.
So I'd like to invite up Ms. Shafang, our World Language Department Chair, and also Mrs. Andrea Drury, our lead on the Curriculum Council. And if you recall, last month we presented to you 7th grade social studies. Tonight we're going to be presenting to you a quick snapshot in 8th grade social studies, and then also the UConn Spanish Early College Experience courses. Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm here on behalf of our Curriculum Council, which you, I know, have heard from us many times over the past few years. But just to give you an overview tonight of 8th grade social studies, our writers were our 4 8th grade social studies teachers at the 2 middle schools, Jennifer Margansky, Marika Wissink, Matt Williams, and Rob Murphy. As you know, the social studies standards were updated about 1.5 years ago. We began the process of looking at our curriculums grades 7 through 12. If you ever get a chance to look at the social studies standards, they are quite massive. It takes a lot of time to really go through and prioritize standards. There's a lot of overlapping of the standards across different grade levels and across bands. The curriculum that you're going to be looking at tonight is our U.S. history curriculum, and it overlaps with actually 5th grade, which is really interesting. 6th and 7th overlap, you saw the world history last month. 5th grade and 8th grade overlap, and so we take these standards and kind of extend them out into 8th grade, and then again, we cycle into 10th grade when we do U.S. history again in 10th grade. So that is what the cycle looks like. There are 4 units that we have developed. Foundations of the United States, the Early Republic, Expansion, and then Civil War and Reconstruction. So we start with the foundation of our country and all the way up through Reconstruction. And then when students get to the high school, we pick up again right after the Civil War with Reconstruction and continue to modern day. So it's modern American history once they get to the high school. And as the next few months go by, you'll be getting additional social studies curriculum. We're kind of cycling through kind of by grade level for you. It just happens to work out that way, but it is very chronological for us. Each of the units, you can see the length varies anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks depending on the topic that the students are studying. Each unit also has performance tasks, And as you know about our social studies curriculum in general, that we do a lot of inquiry-based work where students do research, gather together, talk, present projects, everything that gives them the opportunity to look at primary and secondary sources and really dig into information and be able to debate, discuss, and work with their teachers to understand. Say that. Oh, there's one more slide. Okay, this is just one of our units, just to give you an idea. The concept being how individuals, political, religious, social groups, as well as state and national governmental institutions, both promoted and hindered the struggle for freedom, equality, and social justice during this era. A lot of enduring understandings that we have, and big ideas that we are asking students to look at through this course. Any questions that you might have on 8th grade social studies?
How, thank you for presenting this. How does this align? I know there's work being done to make sure things are aligned with our elementary districts. And you said, I think 5th grade, this is an expansion of sort of the 5th grade curriculum. So are you alignment and?
So we just had our BOA meeting in April, where this was I think one of the first times that we had our 5th grade teachers join the discussion as well. So we had 5th and 8th grade teachers sitting and working together, and the 6th and 7th grade, because that's where everything kind of overlaps for those groups. 5th grade and 8th grade teachers got to spend a lot of time discussing where we pick up in 8th grade, and there was just a great alignment of what needs to happen, what they need to be exposed to in 5th grade, so that we can pick up that curriculum when students get to 8th grade. So there was a lot of good discussion and an opportunity for 5th grade teachers to visit our 8th grade teachers, as well as our 8th grade teachers to have contact with the 5th grade teachers. So that was a first, but I think it was a really good, some really good discussion for that alignment.
Great, that's fantastic to hear.
Just a more general question. So you mentioned that these standard changes by the state were adopted roughly 1.5 years ago. What is kind of the expectation as to, I mean, obviously you don't snap your fingers and create new curriculum overnight. So what is the expectation as to when schools are expected to adopt and implement these? And are we behind? Are we like on track? Like, how should we think about that?
So we're on track for social studies. And actually, while the standard shifted, the alignment to the C3 framework, which is college, career, and civic life, is actually a lot of the writing that we already were starting. And it's very focused on inquiry-based, which is what the writers were already kind of moving in that direction anyway. So it's just kind of going back with 7th and 8th grade. It was really just going back and doing a crosswalk to the writing that we've started and kind of the scope and sequence, and then aligning it to the new standards.
Okay.
But they're in very good shape. And I just to add on what Mrs. Drury said, I think the conversations that we're having with our feeder schools is so meaningful to our students. I mean, ultimately, it's going to show up in our curriculum, but even more so, we can take a lot of what they're learning in 5th grade and elevate that, and really grow the level of thinking that our kids are doing in the classroom around social studies. And I think it was just really great conversation, and even just the connections the teachers are making to be able to contact one another and go visit each other's classrooms is a really big win. It's a really big win.
A quick question. So when we talk about alignment, is it more deepening the conversations around essentially similar topics that are covered in 5th grade? Now you're able to deal with it at a deeper level and without repetition of the things that they may have learned.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely.
Are these conversations happening across all our feeding elementary districts?
Yes, we're working on that, yes. Right now in all content areas. This year we actually added in library media, ML conversations, and I'm missing one in science. But yes, they are happening. But yes, multilingual. We brought together our multilingual teachers because they're kind of on an island of their own as well. So we're kind of trying to build a PLC for them, so they have a learning community where they can contribute and share resources and all of those things. So.
Donna?
Hi, so thank you. Can you point me where, under expansion, where the environmental is touched on that was part of the update?
Yes, I'm actually just gonna give you, if you want me to get into that, yeah. Okay. I'm sorry our writers couldn't be here tonight, but I did reach out to them just to, just get a little bit of an update for you. And basically, Ms. Wisink, who is our content leader for social studies, and she was also one of the writers, part of the environmental piece is looked at in 5th grade, but as far as 8th grade goes, the standard is, it's not a priority standard in our curriculum, but that doesn't mean that they're ignoring it, they are addressing it, and definitely looking at it in the changes in transportation, roads and canals, that it's actually mentioned as a specific. A lot of the standards will give like an overview, and then they'll give some specific areas that they would like teachers to focus in on and make sure that they address, and so that's one of the areas.
What page is that? Because I'm not being rude, I'm actually looking it up, so I'm on curriculum. So I was looking it up, the state standards, and I'm also, so I'm 52, so under expansion on page 27. I see it, but I don't see, and I did look up the state standards too.
Just I'll go, if you don't mind,
Wait, so the question is, the state updated the social studies curriculum. You get to choose, because you just said priority, not a priority standard.
I wouldn't say that we choose. Go ahead.
No, we don't choose, but if you look at the number of standards, there are so many standards, we have to prioritize the standards. So ultimately, that's where our work with 5th grade really comes in nicely, because if they haven't touched upon a specific standard or gone in depth on a standard, that's where we do our work here in 8th grade. But there is no way that we can get in-depth learning and thinking for our students for every single standard. It's nearly impossible. And when you read through the curriculum documents, or you have conversations with them, they will point you in the direction of what the priority standards are. And when you start to look at curriculum over the course of 5 through 12, and you start to look at the vertical articulation and do a crosswalk of each one, that's kind of how we identify our priority standards.
So are you saying that it's being touched on in 5th grade, just so I understand?
One of the areas that they talk about will be the geography and its impact. So they will talk about it in 5th grade, they will talk about it in 8th grade, and then they will talk about it again in 10th grade, as far as like the Jamestown flood and those other topics that were addressed tonight earlier. So it is part of the geography, because one of the portions of the huge standards of social studies has to also do with geography. So it's we look at economics, we look at geography, we're looking at political, all of those pieces across 7 through 12.
Okay, so you were going to say where it is in geography, just so I could find. I was looking under expansion because that's how the state has it set up.
It may not be listed in our documents as a priority standard in our units, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're not addressing it in the curriculum. So when our writers write curriculum, we look at all of those standards, but then we ask them, which ones are you actually focusing on? Which ones are you actually looking for KUDs and looking at how you're going to assess students? So across all of the social studies standards in 8th grade, you might not see every single standard listed across our units.
So just so I understand, so school districts aren't required to abide by the standards the state set up?
They aren't all considered priority standards, and so it almost goes back to Megan's question. So the state adopts a new curriculum, then they spend a year or two trying to figure out which standards should be emphasized within each grade, and they kind of give advice from their level. And then by the time we get it, so this is why you're a little behind, then we can start to take that in and apply it to our social studies. But it's not locked in. For example, the last place that I worked, the US history was taught in 5th, 8th, and 11th grade. It's not locked where you teach it in 5th, 8th, and 10th. It's not locked in like that for school districts across the state of Connecticut. And nor necessarily are the priority standards that each grade level takes on, are they addressed in that exact same order? Again, I worked over where in the Mashantucket tribe was they were part of my school, so we took a very different approach to how we addressed some of those standards that was specific to our local context. But it doesn't mean that just because we don't list the standards as our priority standard, that we're not teaching the standard. It's just not one of the priorities, and often those priority standards are guided from the State Department of Education, who has a person there who specializes just in social studies and just in the social studies standards.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, UConn EC? Yeah, so the writer of this curriculum is Marissa Altamari. She's a Spanish teacher and she's not here today, but she wrote a description of the curriculum, like a summary, so I'm going to just read it, okay? And the UConn EC Spanish course is a rigorous college level program that provides students with the opportunity to earn 6 transferable university credits while developing advanced proficiency in both spoken and written Spanish. The course is designed to mirror the expectations, pace, and intellectual demands of an upper-level undergraduate language and culture course. The curriculum is structured around 6 in-depth geographic and cultural units, which is on the board: Spain, Argentina, Peru, Cuba, Chile, and Colombia. Each unit integrates the study of authentic, discipline-based materials, including literal texts, poetry, visual art, photography, and film. These works are examined through multiple analytical lenses, with particular attention to their historical, political, and social cultural contexts. The interdisciplinary approach allows students to engage critically with the Spanish-speaking world while developing a nuanced understanding of regional diversity. Instruction is conducted primarily in Spanish and emphasizes the development of advanced communication skills. The course is both writing and speaking intensive. All assessments are designed as formal speaking tasks, analytical or reflective written compositions, or creative projects that require students to demonstrate interpretive and presentational proficiency. Students are expected to produce sustained, coherent discourse and to support their ideas with evidence drawn from course materials. In addition to textual analysis, students view films corresponding to each unit, which serve to reinforce and expand upon the historical and cultural themes studied. These visual narratives provide further opportunities for critical analysis and discussion, enabling students to connect course content to broader cultural expressions. Across all units, the course explores recurring thematic frameworks such as identity, social injustice, the role of women, social class, and inequity. Students are required to make cross-cultural and interdisciplinary connections, synthesizing ideas across texts, time periods, and regions. Through this process, they develop higher-order thinking skills, including analysis, interpretation, and evaluation, while cultivating cultural competence and global awareness. Overall, the course fosters academic rigor, intellectual independence, and a sophisticated command of Spanish language, preparing students for continued study at the college level.
This is another course that UConn will accept, not only the course, but also the grade.
Yeah, it's 6 college credit,
Right.
and it can be transferred to more than 87% of the colleges in the country.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Yes.
I'm on the curriculum committee and I found this really fascinating. So I just wanted to say that languages had nothing to do with countries or history or anything when I was in school, and I think that I would have done much better in a class like this personally. So I found it really fascinating to learn about it, and just to share with everybody, because I asked the question, I didn't understand why ECE versus AP, and explaining about test taking versus taking a full class and having your grade be part of it, which I thought was really interesting. There are AP options as well, but I think it's really a great direction to go to offer this as an option as well for some students who maybe aren't great test takers or just, are interested in going more in depth like this, which I think is really interesting. That's not just the language.
We are adding another college course for Spanish next, the following year, so it will be even more. Yes, yes.
So this course is, first, this sounds like an amazing class, and I agree with everything Jennifer said. It's 6 credits.
Yeah.
How does that, because I'm thinking about yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So it has to be this is probably a year-long course?
So it's not, it's a semester course. So technically, it's 2 courses.
It's 2 courses in one. So think of it just like the way you have first semester course in college and then you have your second semester.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 semesters built into one full year of an Amity course. At the end, you get two classes of college credit.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
so 3 for each, 3 for each. So together it's 6.
Okay, but it's across the full year?
Yes, yeah.
Got it, okay,
And
thank you.
it's really high level, it's, yeah.
Okay.
This is not that important a question, but I was wondering, given that it is 6 to 8 weeks in many sessions, what are some important countries? And it occurred to me that Venezuela, is there a reason why that is not, and why these
We are
particular
just
countries?
following the UConn's curriculum, so basically it's, yeah.
Given that there are several with 8 weeks, maybe.
And curriculum committee approved both courses, Mr. Davis.
Okay. I'm not sure everybody heard that, but the curriculum committee recommended the passage of both of these courses. Okay, so with that, you have a motion to adopt both of these courses curriculum. Patrick, 1 second. Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Can we call the roll, please?
Ms. Bradley? Ms. Checkey?
Yes.
Dr. Kronekrad?
Yes.
Ms. Lombardi?
Yes.
Mr. McDonough?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Dr. Olda Delay?
Yes.
Ms. Rabuse?
Yes.
Ms. Schuster?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you so much for your
Can
hard
I-
work.
Can I just have
Karen.
one suggestion? So I also noticed, so Sudhir said
Venezuela.
Venezuela, but then Mexico. So I just want to say, if there's an opportunity to give UConn feedback, how do you not have Mexico
Being
on
from
there?
Texas, you learn a lot. You learn Spanish, it's primarily
Assuming they,
Mexico must be taught elsewhere.
Yes, we will, sure, thank you.
because that's the 4th class they will have taken.
Okay. We move on to district health and safety. Anything?
We had a meeting, I believe the next one is in early June.
Yes.
Okay. Meeting on June 3rd. District technology, the monthly report is on page 15. Any special comments? I'll see that, okay. Facilities, now we have quite a bit of action going on here, and if you looked at your agenda, you notice there's some repeat things here, so we're gonna try and go for doing this so that we only have to talk about it once.
Yeah, Ms. Loomis and I were just so pumped up about facilities, we just sprinkled it all over the agenda.
So if that's okay with the membership, we'll start with, I think, one that's only on the facilities, and that's the, we have the monthly report, which is on page 16, but discussion and possible action on water filtration system at the Amity Middle School Orange.
And that's actually going to be on page 50 of your packet, so if you are able to scroll to page 50, and it's item 3. So this is addressing the problem with the glycol loop at Amity Middle School Orange, which has been noted in Mr. Martoni's report pretty much all year. We've addressed this problem twice before and are trying to find a solution for the immediate future because the problem is getting more severe. So Mr. Martoni, upon the recommendation of our HVAC vendor, investigated a water treatment system and found a company that is proprietary in the area
to put in a water treatment system. And even though we have talked about a lot of facilities and HVAC projects at the Facilities Committee and doing a major overhaul, this will still work into whatever changes we make with that equipment. But it would also provide an immediate remediation of the problem that we are having in Orange with the glycol clogging the pipes. So we do need to drain the system and then have this equipment installed, and then we will be refilling the system with water instead of glycol. So we're asking the board to approve the contract to the New England Sales Group, LLC, for the water treatment system at $60,414. We do expect that the work will be done by a different company, possibly our current mechanical service provider, and we estimate that to be about $20,000. This money is going to come from a new grant that the state has designated for school districts called DRIP funding, and it is specifically for capital repairs and improvements. So this falls in line with the intent of the grant. So everyone in the state had to sign off on that grant by April 15th, and we're supposed to have the money by June 30th. Still haven't seen it yet, but we have their promise. So we would like the board to approve this project.
Right, and we have recommendations from Finance and Facilities. Finance and Facilities both discussed and know the details and are recommending it. And so that's our action there. And any additional comments on this particular motion?
So just clarity, so this money is going to be funded by a grant? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Which is a good thing.
So also for clarity, do we already know the amount of the grant that we're getting?
Yes, I believe it's 102 and change.
Okay, and is it contingent, like, do you get the 102 no matter what we spend?
get the 102.
Okay.
Well, too, because you've already spent so much money.
Expect the 102.
That's fair.
Compensation
You give
here.
the money first and you tell them afterwards what you spent it on.
Okay.
Any other questions? Carol?
Do we have this, do we have a similar problem at any of our other
It's the
schools?
well water versus city water.
Well water versus city, and then my other understanding is that when the system is open to air and exposed to oxygen, it increases the corrosion that the glycol does on the pipes. So for whatever reason, whether it's because it's been worked on more frequently or the seals just aren't quite as good, the Orange system has, this has been a thorn in our sides for years now, and we've tried several different ways of trying to fix it, and they have not been successful, so this is another attempt. But Mr. Martoni, I believe, visited some other places who've installed a similar system, and they have seen the improvements that we are expecting to get. So we're hoping that this solves the problem.
We have a well at in Orange and Bethany.
A well and.
So we have a well in Bethany, city water in Orange, and we don't have a glycol
We don't
loop
have
here.
glycol here.
So that's,
Got it.
we think there's some difference in the water that's adding to this.
Kathy?
So John, clarity, you just said this is an attempt to fix it. Do we know it's a solution, or is this a patch and hope, or what is this?
I mean, it was recommended by our HVAC technicians who work on this. It is a different system. So in the past, what we've done is just flush the glycol and put new filters in. This is actually a system to support in that filtration. The other thing is that we're filling it back up with water. So hopefully the corrosion that the glycol is causing will stop, because now we take the glycol out of the system.
So one more clarification, I asked a bunch of questions during the FC, but I was curious, given that you said about the city water, do none of the other Orange schools use the city water? Or is it only because it's on Route 34?
But they may not have a glycol cooling system.
None of the.
They don't have HVAC.
None of the Orange elementary schools have HVAC.
They don't have.
I mean, they have
air
heat, but they don't have
conditioning.
AC.
Oh, okay. So I was wondering whether this was off Route 34, they had city water and the others don't.
Donna?
Oh, I'm sorry. Have we tested the water to see what the difference is? for the HVAC systems?
Between the city and the well. We do test the water. Well, we don't test the city water necessarily, the water company does that.
Right.
But we do have to test our well water, and we do that annually, right?
Well, I know that that's a state requirement, I understand that, but just to understand the difference between the water and why you're having issues, so what is in, I mean, yes, the
It's
city
probably-
water's already
Again,
treated.
as I explained, it's more likely opening the system and the oxygen exposure that's occurred within the system. And
The
the
glycol.
water adds to, it, it just
Right.
adds another variable, but it's opening up a system that wasn't intended necessarily to be opened frequently.
So how frequently has it been opened? How many times, do you know?
Well, every time
Time they
we've
need to
had to
repair.
clean or repair it, we have to open it back up. And again, so in some ways, we're kind of in a vicious circle, because we keep having to clean the glycol, we open the system, and then now we've opened the system some more, and then it gets dirty, and then we have to clean the glycol again. So I think we're sort of stuck in a loop, which is why we're trying to install a new filtration system and then eliminate the glycol, so hopefully we stop the loop.
Can I ask a facilities question? That's something that's just in the report?
On this?
It's in the report, yes.
Yeah, sure.
It says that a surface repair was done at the track. What was done?
We did not talk about that in facilities this month.
So that's general maintenance on the track, so when there's tears or seams come up in the track, holes in there, worn spots, the company comes out and patches them.
Oh, okay, so that has, and now, it's been a while. Has the track drains, there's not water on it or anything anymore? That was.
Yeah, it's hardened over time, which was what they honestly kept telling us, as we kept complaining to them, but the rubber has hardened, so it does not have that squishiness.
That was once there, that
Yes.
after, even
yeah.
a couple years after it was installed, that it was still.
Only took a
it was
few
still-
years.
It was still wet, it was still, track, I was like, wow, that's interesting. Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you. All right then, yes, Jen?
Do we have any updates on the solar canopy? I see it listed here. but-
We have a motion we're discussing, Axel.
Okay, sorry, I thought we were
No,
going through the.
we'll get to that. All right, we did have the motion made.
No motion was made yet.
No
Oh, no.
There's a motion.
Oh, no, not yet.
Not for this.
Nope, not for this.
Okay, so, motion to approve district, I think a contract is this New England Sales Group LLC for a water treatment system for Amity Middle School, Lawrence, $60,414. Carol made the motion, Sudhir, second. Okay?
Question, do we have to also approve the additional funds to install it, or we'll do that once it?
If it's under 20,000, you won't have to, so that was Mr. Martoni's estimate, so once we.
And if it's over, they'll have to come back to us. Okay. All right. Good question. Thank you.
Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Sheckey?
Yes.
Dr. Kruder-Kron?
Yes.
Ms. Lombardi?
Yes.
Mr. McDonough?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Dr. Ola Delay?
Yes.
Ms. Rabuse?
Yes.
Ms. Schuster?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
All right, before we go on, Jen, Jen had a question about, you want to ask that question again?
Sorry, it's on the facilities report. I thought
Okay.
that's where we were.
All right.
That it's, the solar canopy is listed, but there isn't really an update. I'm wondering if, because I know we had said it could be summer.
So at the last paragraph on that page, it says that it's, we're still in the process of going through the permitting process with UI. We had made some requests to go back to Green Skies, and so we're just waiting for UI to.
But it has to be in the summer, so the assumption is it's not this summer?
It is not this summer,
Next.
definitely.
Okay, that was my question, sorry.
Okay, next subject, facilities.
Yes.
Okay, can I get the Cliff Note version of what's happening with the fuel cells?
You want the Cliff Note version?
How about the Cliff Note version?
Can I give the Cliff Note
It doesn't work.
version? It never has.
It's never worked, and that's the end of the story.
But what are we doing about it? This is like we're negotiating with the town and we're.
Again, it's a joint effort between the town of Woodbridge and us to try to get UI and Fuel Cell to fix it.
So, if I could just clarify, 'cause we use the terms interchangeably,
Yes, we
the fuel
do.
cell and microgrid, but
Correct.
the fuel
Fuel cell
cell
works.
generally works. We had a part break on our side to connect to our heating system, which is why we had to use natural gas. Separate from the problem that the fuel cell is having, making the microgrid function. So the microgrid has never ignited or whatever. It's not, it's just not there. So the fuel cell part, and UI is saying that it's fuel cell's fault that the microgrid is not working.
What is the impact on us right now?
We are not able to provide, to host the town residents as an emergency shelter because we would not have power if power went out. And the town buildings, I mean, they wouldn't either, but our direct impact is that we would not be able to support the town.
And we don't have a powerful enough backup generator to back up everything that we would need backed up. We have a smaller backup generator because it was there with the expectation that in a power outage, the microgrid would come on and we wouldn't need a big generator. So that's the impact on us
So
also.
if we have a power outage, can you run the school?
No, remember, that was the day we dismissed early, about a year and a half ago, because.
That was my, thank you.
And honestly, that was the day that spurred all of these discussions and issues, because we couldn't run the school.
But at least the computers will run and the internet will be on for the students.
No, they weren't.
Couldn't even do that. So the backup generator does what?
It runs
Emergency
lights.
The refrigeration, there's very few things that it, handles and.
No.
That's scary.
Basically, you could just get out and you can have the food for the next day. So when the lights are on, you can get out, possibly food in the fridge.
The reality is if we have a power failure, for the school, more than likely it's gonna be a general power failure. Even though we may have had the microgrid, none of the houses would have power, and chances are they wouldn't be able to have school anyhow. But then the building could be used as a backup for the town, but now it can't. So that's more the issue.
So what is now the disaster plan?
For the town?
Right.
My understanding was that there was going to be communication coming out from the town to the residents of Woodbridge. I don't know where that status is. That's in the office of the first selectman. But, yeah.
Is the JCC or backup?
Everyone, we're getting off
Right, no,
task
well,
here.
my question is that, I was going somewhere with it, I promise. I wasn't just asking a random question. So, the school district worked with the town to say that we would be an emergency shelter, that Amity would be an emergency shelter. And with the relying on the microgrid. We're going back and forth as to why it's not working. No one really knows, is what I'm hearing. But Woodbridge still needs a backup. So the question is, does Woodbridge have, and I know you may not know this, but does Amity, if Amity were to still do this, or, I don't know what they would use, because if they don't have anything, then what are they gonna do?
Or do we still have the responsibility?
That's one, A, that's a question, and B, would the answer be a larger generator, and would the answer also be that you share that expense with the town?
So to Megan's question, no, I don't believe that we have that responsibility, in the sense that if we can't run a kitchen and water and everything like that, we don't have a formal agreement like that. We have had conversations around divorcing ourselves from the microgrid and the fuel cell and the headaches that it causes. The answer for us, if we truly did that, yes, would be a huge generator that would allow us to run, I mean, like all of our computer stacks go down, they have a battery life of about 5 to 12 minutes. The phones go down. Obviously, if we were truly going to be an emergency shelter, the whole gym area and the kitchen has to run. Think about the walk-in cooler, like it would be a massive generator, which is why I think conceptually, when they did this, the idea of the microgrid was such a good idea. And they do work in other, fuel cells work in other places, and I believe microgrids work in other places. It just seems that this one isn't. Mr. McDonough.
I know one in New Haven that hasn't worked in 5 years, and every time they try it, it costs them about $200,000 in damage. And for you, Donna, too, the other thing that goes with the generator, a bigger generator means you also need to make bigger diesel fuel tanks. So it becomes a big environmental thing that will have to drop probably 5,000 to 15,000 gallon diesel tanks out there. I'm just, you know.
Well, no, that's why I'm asking the question.
And don't worry, Orange, you can come down to Orange, we'll take care of you in a disaster.
Or rely on our own generators that we have? Okay, no, I was just wondering, like, were we required to do anything? Is this more now in the lap of?
Yeah, I mean, we have had conversations, I mean, we may never be the emergency shelter, but someday we may have to come to the board and at least ask for a generator that will keep our computer servers up and our phone systems up, because we just can't rely on this actually happening, but we have a lot of meetings, they reassure us they get further along with each test, and so.
That's a good transition. Speaking of our systems, C, discussion of possible action on a PA system at Amity Regional High School, which is also on the finance B1.
And it's on page 49 of your packet.
Okay. Page 49. Okay, so this is a motion to award Eastern Datacom the contract for upgrading the high school public address system and safety notification system. Someone want to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Megan made the motion. Here, second. Any discussion? This was recommended by both facilities and the finance, Amity Finance Committee.
One quick question, the reimbursement rate, is it the same for all grants? It's always like the 40 or 42%?
I know it is for this security grant, I know it's the same as the school construction. I wouldn't say all, because I don't know what.
Okay.
The quote for this, are we talking about $190,186?
Yes.
I'm assuming we had 3 bids?
No, they're off a consortium bid, so a state bid, and they're the same contractor that we use that we're using currently for the 2 middle schools.
Okay. All right, any further questions?
Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Jacquet?
Yes.
Dr. Fruticrand?
Yes.
Ms. Lombardi?
Yes.
Mr. McDonough?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Dr. Olajale?
Yes.
Mr. Buse?
Yes.
Ms. Schuster?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes. You're no longer going,
Carries. We move on to D here, discussion and possible action on the Energia contract, and this is also on
Page 50.
number 2, and what page?
Page 50.
Page
50.
50.
Right after the PA.
Right after the PA system.
Number 2.
Okay, right after the PA system. And this is a motion, the district enter into contract with Energia to pursue an energy performance contract. We have that motion? Megan, thank you. And Michael, second. Little explanation?
I'm going to defer to Terry on this one because it's complex.
So there is no dollar amount attached to this part of the contract, but because this will lead to a bigger opportunity, we wanted the board to take action on it. So Energia is a company that was from the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities, they won their consortium bid, to offer this service to school districts and municipalities, to have energy service companies come in and do an audit of your systems and design, make changes, recommendations, and you enter into a lease purchase agreement with that energy service company to the tune of, if they say they can save you $200,000 in energy savings, you would pay them $200,000 in the lease cost. You may save more than 200, but you should not have to pay more than what you save. So it's just a matter of, it will eventually in the budget be a reduction in a utility line and an increase in a purchase service. It's designed that way, and this company monitors not only the process of developing the RP, vetting the companies, making sure they're doing the audit correctly. They also, after we select one, monitor that if they say we got X amount in savings, they do a double check to make sure that there was really those savings happening. So they act on our behalf.
At our per unit level, because that was the question, like, we're doing all these other things, how do we know that this is the thing that generated the savings?
Does it true up? I mean, they say we're gonna save $200,000, and we don't save $200,000. Does it true up? Do they,
They would have to write us a
rebate
check.
us? Yes.
So I saw a presentation on this, from Chester Schools, who is now entering their second contract. They're 8 years into their first contract, and it has worked exactly as this is laid out to work.
So if we give them, we have to pay them $200 now.
No, you would enter, once the RFP, then you would enter into the lease purchase, and we would look at the terms then. But they would do the work, and you're paying the lease over, 10 years, 16 years, whatever the proposal
Kathy, it's like in lieu of a bond, so instead of, paying millions of dollars on a bond to do a new refrigeration unit or a new HVAC project, you would potentially partner with them. Part of what you'd have to bond for instead would be through a lease agreement that was facilitated by these consultants.
Derek, is it fair to understand that this stage of the board consideration is not requiring an obligation for payment? It's really just to get the audit done. They're just going to come and take a look and say, this is what we think we can do for you. So it's really not a commitment beyond allowing them to come in and see what kind of improvements they think they can.
It's a commitment to Energia that they would develop the RFP and put that out to bid and solicit all the companies. If we back out and don't pick any companies, the most we would be obligated to Energia would be $20,000 for costs that they incurred developing the RFP and putting money out on our behalf.
So this is at a minimum $20,000, is
Right,
it?
but if we go forward, those costs get folded into the whole lease.
All right, thanks for those questions. Any other comments? We do have a motion that's been seconded. Call the roll, please.
Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Jacquet?
Yes.
Dr. Kunakran?
Yes.
Ms. Lombardi?
Yes.
Mr. McDonough?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Dr. Oladelay?
Yes.
Ms. Reduce?
Yes.
Ms. Schuster?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Okay, we move on specifically to finance, and we have a presentation discussion of first quarter 2026 executive summary review, Amity pension fund, sick and severance account, OPEB trust, and policy review. It's on page 18.
So we had Mr. Kochman here at AFC to present, and you have the report in your packet. The first quarter, the investments were down slightly, but over the year, we're still on track to meet our goals. They will be doing a little balancing to make sure we're staying within our target allocations. And this is the quarter where they just present the policies, the investment policies. There are no recommended changes, but they just always include them so that if you had questions. But there are no recommended changes to the investment policies this year.
Okay. Any questions? We're good on that, and we'll go back to B now, discussion and possible action on contracts over $35,000. And we've done the first two, so technology, education devices.
Yeah, so the first one is for this fiscal year. We are requesting to be able to purchase 22 devices for the middle school technology program, 11 for each middle school. These will be used, as I said, in their technology education program. They are a more robust device than the students' one-to-one device to meet the needs of the curriculum. And they're on the capital plan, but we're finding that we really would better serve the students if we could improve those devices immediately. And the 11 makes it a 1-to-2 ratio. The cap size for a classroom in the middle school is 22. So we would, if we could get the 11 now and then in the future get the remaining 11, but we feel this would be an enhancement to the curriculum.
All right, so this is move to purchase 22 student devices from Lenovo for technology education, price of $58,324.20. Do we have that motion? Sudhir? Second?
I'll second.
And Carol second. Okay. Any further discussion, comments, questions?
What are the devices being used for exactly?
They are for the middle school tech ed courses. So just like we've been doing specialty labs, kind of, sort of, mostly at the high school, but we also have specialty labs at the middle schools. And then this would be to add to or create a specialty lab for tech ed. It was originally scheduled, I think, for 27, 28. But if we can at least get half of them moved up now, they can immediately start using the type of software that they want to use. And we're comfortable, we've talked about it, of only purchasing half because of the way that our teachers teach in sort of station models. There are things that kids can be doing on either their one-to-one devices or just in the classroom itself. We don't need all 22 right away. We're also looking at space, trying to fit all 22 into the room. So we need to do a little space reconfiguration, but it would definitely let them move ahead with running some of the programs that they want to run for their tech classes.
Just like 3D printing and the CAD or?
Yes,
Okay,
very
design.
similar to what we have up here, but that we just don't have down at the middle schools yet.
No, they do stuff like that. I just don't know what they're using to do.
So
It's probably just inefficient and slow.
it is, it's just, yeah, and I mean, and again, if you think with the student laptops, right, at the middle school, we keep them for 4 years. So they're not even like even by like year 3 and 4, they're not running as fast as we would want them to run. These would be dedicated for those tech ed classrooms.
And how frequently would they cycle? Like,
I mean, Sean can probably answer this better, but I think we've kept our labs usually for like 7 or 8 years. They do a lot, he does, and in the tech department do a lot of creative things to keep them running for a longer period of time, and you can change out, oh God, I'm gonna get way over my head, but like cards and stuff like that, and it can work better. So it's a good investment.
Is there a guarantee on the equipment? Like how long that they're guaranteed to not age out?
I don't think there's a guarantee on it, but like I said, we usually can keep them for 7 to 8 years. What there is a guarantee on is the price, which we would purchase immediately tomorrow because price for technology equipment is skyrocketing at the moment because something to do with memory cards. And so that's the other piece about this that is kind of timely at this point.
All right. And these, of course, were approved and recommended by the Finance, yeah, okay. All right. We did, yep.
Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Jacquet?
Yes.
Dr. Kronikron?
Yes.
Ms. Lombardi?
Yes.
Mr. McDonough?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Dr. Ola DeLay?
Yes.
Ms. Rabus?
yes.
Ms. Schuster?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Okay. We now move on to number 4 there, the student one-to-one devices. And this is a motion to the lease agreement with Insight is, okay, lease purchase agreement with Insight Financial Services, 420 student devices. This is a 4-year lease with options for an FMV buyout, continued lease, or return of devices at the end of the term, a total of $83,427.96 annually. And do we have a motion to approve that? Patrick made the motion. Second? Sudhir? Okay, so what's the story on this?
So this is a budgeted item in next year's budget, but given the conditions Dr. Byers just talked about in the technology world between price and the availability, in order to have these devices ready for school when it opens in September, we would like to place the order as soon as possible. Since the referendum is passed, we know that we have our budget number, we can actually issue a purchase order for next year's budget. And we would do so tomorrow because the price will not hold. I can't remember if tomorrow's the day it expires or shortly after, so we have a window here to open it, and this was within the budget amount.
And you'll recall, we started last year without student devices, and it was a challenge. So that is the other driving force, is that we can place the order tomorrow. They don't expect payment until July 1, but they will keep processing our order on that good faith that we will pay them, and hopefully it gives us an additional 6 weeks of lead time that we didn't have last year to place the order.
I think current 7th graders didn't have laptops until like the end of October.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
I can't promise it won't happen again, but at least we're making a really good faith effort not to.
All right, any other questions? And once again, this is recommended by the finance. Yes, Jen?
Just as I remember from the technology meeting, the plan was to return some of the laptops because the price of used is pretty good right now?
So yes, so we will collect the laptops, or the one-to-ones of the seniors who are exiting. But we will also make sure that we don't get rid of them until we know we have these in, so that way we have enough one-to-one devices for everybody to start the school year. But yes, that's the fair market value buyout, and that's what we will do with the devices that we're getting rid of.
Yeah, even the school district learns a lesson. Okay, anybody else? Can we call the roll, please?
Yes, Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Jacquet?
Yes.
Dr. Kronikron?
Yes.
Ms. Lombardi?
Yes.
Mr. McDonough?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Dr. Oladelay?
Yes.
Ms. Rabuse?
Yes.
Ms. Schuster?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Okay, motion carries. Move on to C, discussion and possible action on tuition rates for 2026-27. It's on page 55.
Yes, so Ms. Kovalik prepares the tuition rate after the budget passes and uses the net current per pupil expenditure report formula to develop it. This year, there is an increase of $641 for regular education, it's about 2.86. For $23,083 would be the tuition rate. Special education, the base rate would be $23,518. Special ed would have additional services added on, and that would be based on the current pricing at the time of a student's services. There are sample prices listed below, but again, they would be billed actual cost on top of the base special ed tuition rate and finance.
Okay, we have a recommendation, set the tuition rate at $23,083 for non-resident students. Someone want to make that motion?
Do we need to make the second part too?
We do the second. Was there a second part to
It
that?
says, and the non-resident based tuition, special ed based tuition rate at $23,518.
Do the whole thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. Thank you. Second, Megan, you want to make that? Thank you.
Sure.
A second, Patrick? Thank you. Any further discussion? Yes.
Can you tell me if any of the additional costs, if there are other students in the building that might need those services, and if the full hourly cost needs to be passed on to the student? I guess I'm just wondering if like, you have, yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
So it's gonna be based on whatever the student has in their IEP. So if we are taking in a non-resident student from XY school district, they'll pay the base tuition cost, and then if their IEP says 1 hour a week of counseling, they'll be charged, I think it's $71, I don't have the memo in front of me. They'll be charged that $71. It'll follow exactly what their IEP says. If it's any group services, so if it says group counseling, then that will be divided by the number of students in the group to charge the district the actual cost that's being expended.
And are we passing along the exact cost that we incur? So we're not making a profit off of any of these services, this is like what it costs.
That's why there's a formula for us, for how we set tuition from the state, so that we're not profit.
Yeah, but for the base tuition, but these amounts will be like above, on top of the base tuition. Okay.
But those amounts are derived from an average of the hour of the salaried people who provide those services within the district.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? If not, call the roll, please.
Ms. Bradley? Yes. Ms. Jacque?
Yes.
Dr. Kronikron?
Yes.
Ms. Lombardi?
Yes.
Mr. McDonough? Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Dr. Oladelay?
Yes.
Ms. Rabuse?
Yes.
Ms. Schuster?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
We move on to D, discussion of monthly financial statements. It's on page 57, the special education update.
So on the revenue side, the biggest change was that we received our open choice grant, and it came in $55,608 more than budgeted. This is a grant that they divide based on what money they have, how many kids actually are in the program through the years. So there's a base formula of $2,000 per student, but then if your enrollment, if your percentage goes over 2%, it bumps up, and we hover right around 2%. Most years we're under 2%, and as soon as you tip over, then you get $3,000 per student, so it's very hard to estimate exactly what you'll get. So that is on the revenue side. On the expense side, trying to estimate exactly what will be left in accounts, as about 95 to 98% of ordering has been done at this point or encumbered for the services. We have some more unpaid leave of absences that are going on right now, and vacancies, so trying to address those through the salaries. Again, in medical, even though the claims that are 106%, the fees are down, so it's roughly 85,000 to 90,000 to the positive. Most of the other items are just my estimate of where I think those accounts will end for the year. The big change is one, the $190,000 contract you just approved for the PA system. And then on the electricity, that $95,000 credit that the UI said we were getting, they have taken it back. Said that upon further review, we are not entitled to the $95,000 credit, so our bills are as they stand.
How can they call and tell you you're being issued a credit, or was it ever in writing?
He gave me an email telling me to look for it on the next bill. I immediately called and said, well, where did this come from? How did it generate? Is it gonna continue to happen? When did it start from? And it wasn't supposedly just Amity, it was a process they went through with people who had primary and secondary metering, and that they weren't given this 3% credit, and they thought we weren't. But the way that they looked at our primary and secondary reading on the first glance was incorrect, and when they did a final review before actually processing the credit, they realized we were getting our 3% credit since 2016.
Sure we were.
Did somebody lose a job there, like, for sending?
I guess we all knew that, but we weren't going to say anything.
We were happy to take it for whatever reason, but.
Okay, any questions?
I just have.
Yes.
Only because it's an area where there seems to be a surplus every year, and we talked about it a lot in the budget. Help me understand in salaries, like how from like March to April, there's like a 440,000 swing in what we estimate the difference from budget to be. Like, how do we find $440,000 in a month?
Well, we're really honing in now, like you're looking at people who, this is a very popular time of year for people to be on leave of absence, or to have started earlier in the year and become unpaid at this point. And we don't usually capture that until they hit the unpaid part, because we don't want to make sure
And
they
then
don't
they
change
tell
their
you,
mind and
right.
come back. We also start looking at coverages, that's like when somebody's out, we have another teacher cover for them, the usage of that, substitute rates, how much those have been, and try to capture that. Those are some areas, like at the middle schools, where coverage are really kind of under budget at this point. We use an average, we try to look at what contract language may impact those things from year to year. I mean, when we first had paid FMLA offered to the teachers, we really expected this spike in substitute coverage. We've seen a little more of it this year, but not to the extent we had initially anticipated when the contract first went into place. So we try to, when we're budgeting, we try to estimate what those impacts will be, and now we're trying to say, okay, this is what's really happening. And then we use that to try to adjust next year when we build the budget, what will happen based on what we know.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, we move on to.
Did you want Mr. Brandt's?
I'm sorry.
Good to see everybody again. I'll give you a quick update of what I provided to the AFC to be cognizant of the time. One of the things that we mentioned in Ms. Loomis's report, you do see that it is marked favorable on tuition for $324,000. I just wanted to give a quick summary of how we got there. We essentially had 5 students who, when we budgeted in April of 2024, 2024, we expected to come. Of those 5 students, and working with the superintendent's office, 1 we found out was not living in the district and they were placed out of district. We found that out early in the school year, so once we found that out, we initiated a residency investigation and told them they couldn't come here anymore. That was a substantial savings to the district. We had 2 medically fragile students, and although they are placed in medically fragile out-of-district placement programs, they are unable to attend full-time, and one's unable to attend altogether, so we were able to work with that school on a relationship. We had to only be billed for the days the students actually went. That is not typical, that was built on a relationship. Additionally, we had another student in our 18 to 22 program who was placed out of district, and the family decided to utilize their ability to homeschool the student. We remain fiscally responsible for that student until June of the year in which they turned 22, as the family could return back to district at any time during those years. And then additionally, we had a student switch between 2 out-of-district placements, so those 5 students resulted in a savings of $327,000 against the tuition line. We are favorable $324,000, roughly, with some pennies. So if those students had to come, we actually would have been $3,000 short. But that is how we got to what you see as that favorable $324,000 on the tuition line. With that said, we just got notice, next year's budget, we're already short $37,000 on an out-of-district placement for a residential student in a different state where the state sets it, and they increased tuition at a higher level than we were anticipating for a medical-based placement. So the state, as I called it in the last, the State of the Union for special ed in May of 2026, done very quickly.
Did you just say for an out-of-state placement? So we still have to pay for somebody that's not even in our own state?
No, they live
We
in our
place them.
district, but we actually have
So
to place them
so if we have,
in a school
for
that's
various
not even
different
in
reasons.
Connecticut.
highly
So we're
complex-
sending them
yeah,
there?
yes.
They didn't?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's where
highly
they
complex
need to go there.
They need to, okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
for highly complex medical reasons, if we don't have a residential school in the state for complex medical reasons, we look outside of the state as close as possible.
Gotcha, okay.
And Mr. Brandt, you know, he tries to guess.
I just didn't
tuition
think I
increase
heard
is
that
gonna
right.
be. Yeah, but,
I'm happy with the answer.
Mr. Brandt, I thought you had mentioned some of the numbers on each of the students, and I thought that was very informative, so perhaps that might be useful to the board as well. You're talking about 2 students, 180,000 or things like that. So that numbers, I think, are helpful as we think about what causes variability. So maybe you could share.
So, yeah, exactly. One of the students who left mid-year was a $70,000 savings. One of the students the 2 students for medical reasons who are unable to attend was $118,000. The residency savings was almost $100,000. And the student with the different placement through the PPT process was actually a savings of almost $50,000. And I say savings, although not truly savings, just adjustment to what was left.
Okay. We move on, we have the transfers under 3,000 on page 89. Everyone had an opportunity to look at that. Any comments from anyone? good on that. Okay, we move on to F, discussion and possible action on budget transfers of 3,000 or more on page 93.
So there's 3 transfers here, and the AFC took them all as one. So I'll go through them. The first one is one from special ed. It's transferred between special ed accounts and for additional tutoring services. The second one is to purchase those 22 laptops for the middle schools. Typically at this time of year, we look at all the technology funds and consolidate all the accounts and make a purposeful purchase for the district, and this year it'll be the laptops that were approved earlier, so that's the second transfer. And the third one is for the PA system, and it is utilizing some of the funds that Mr. Brandt just explained where they came from.
Okay, so we have 3 motions here to consider. Transfer, number 1 motion, move for tutoring services, 10,000 from tuition private out to professional tech services, 10,000. Technology is a whole listing of various different accounts, and that's $58,324.20 to move. And then lastly, on the transfer for the public address system, $190,186 to move from tuition private out into improvement to buildings. Could I have motion to do all 3? Megan and Carol second. Okay. Any further discussion on those? They were all recommended and approved by the Amity Finance Committee. Okay, if not?
Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Jacquet?
Yes.
Dr. Kronika?
Yes.
Ms. Lombardi?
Yes.
Mr. McDonough?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Dr. Olajalay?
Yes.
Ms. Rabuse?
Yes.
Ms. Schuster? Mr. Young?
Yes.
Thank you all on that. Motion carries. We move on to policy 10. We have 2 first reads.
We have to do G.
What did I forget?
End of year?
Oh, end of the year transfers. Sorry about that. Page 96.
Every year.
I knew that.
We ask just for permission to make the necessary transfers to close out the year, and some of them may be over $3,000, and then we report that to the board in August. This is so we can close our books in a timely manner, and make sure that all of our accounts are not under budget when we close the books. It's a good auditing practice. And so most of these accounts will be, salaries and utilities as we talked about, but we'll report all the accounts in August.
Okay, this is motion to authorize the Director of Finance and Administration to make necessary budget transfers to salary and benefits account to pay other standard charges. These budget transfers may exceed $3,000. Director of Finance and Administration will report all budget transfers made to the Amity Finance Committee and the Amity Board of Education. All right, can we have that motion, please? Somebody want to make that motion? Patrick and Sudhir second. All right, any other questions?
Ms. Bradley?
Yes.
Ms. Jacquet?
Yes.
Dr. Kronika?
Yes.
Ms. Lombardi?
Yes.
Mr. McDonough? Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Dr. Olajalay?
Yes.
Ms. Rabuse?
Yes.
Ms. Schuster. I'm just looking at the name tags. Ms. Schuster.
Well, thank you, Lisa, yes.
And Mr. Young. Fair.
Okay. We have 2 first reads, policy 3434.1, accounting for compensated absences, and number 2, policy 4134, tutoring, page 98. Any comments on these?
I will just make a comment that the accounting for compensated absences, I'm glad Ms. Loomis is here if anybody has questions, because it is a policy that is now required by the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. And so she actually drafted and wrote the policy, and would be happy to answer any questions about it. The tutoring policy is one that we already have in place, but it was not reflective of the practices that actually are occurring in the district. The revised policy now reflects what we
are actually doing. And obviously the strike-throughs are what we're taking out, the red line is what we've added. And I will just make another comment that policy is still working on AI. I don't want you to think we've forgotten it just because it's not here. We actually have a special meeting for that this Wednesday. And we're trying to do it separate of everything else.
Thank you on that. Any questions or comments on the accounting for compensated absences? This is only a first read, everyone, so.
Quick, so nothing really is changing, it's just that we are stating whatever we'll be doing about the compensated absences, right?
It's something that we had to report, we actually had reported in last year's audit report. It's a liability that gets added to our balance sheet.
But it was always done this way, or no?
We never had to
We
report
didn't
the
have
number
to.
before. We never had to calculate, never had to report it before.
So we have unstated liabilities, or how
It
should
was
we?
never required to be reported, so now we're required to take into consideration what people may have accumulated in sick time over the years and have available for them to use in a different fiscal year.
Sudhir, this has happened in like corporations too, and it's why a lot of businesses went to unlimited sick leave or unlimited PTO because you can't quantify an unlimited liability. And so it alleviated them from having to, but obviously like we have contracts that don't
Yes.
permit us to do that.
And I could appreciate why they didn't want to do this, because it's very.
It's painful.
It was very time consuming to calculate.
Okay, and
But no, effectively no cost in terms, like, meaning
It didn't change any cost to the budget or what we're doing. It's just something that had to be added to our audit report and our balance sheet.
and what is the magnitude of the numbers we're thinking,
I need to look back at the audit report. I think it was over $3 million.
So that is a large liability.
Yes.
It's basically like saying if every single teacher called
Yeah, no,
out.
I get it, like, I just want to get the number, yeah. I just want to get the sense of what the magnitude is.
Right.
3 million.
okay, any questions about, Jen?
So this is only if they leave, or is the liability that they might use it the next year?
It's any, like, if somebody who's, say, on a long-term absence this year and is using, they get 15 days a year, different contracts have different days, but let's say a teacher, 15 days, but they're out for 60 days, but they have a bank of 100 days, so they're pulling from that bank. We never took a value on what that bank was.
Okay.
That's what they want us really to do.
The bank worth.
And do they get compensated when they leave for that amount as well?
There is a handful of people in the district who are grandfathered under that, but all contracts have
Primarily
stopped that going forward.
But that's why we have the sick and severance account that we reviewed, because that helps pay for that.
So it's a use it or lose it situation, and you're basically accounting for banked time.
Yes.
Okay. Any comments on the tutoring one? If you have any specific comments, questions, concerns, please contact our policy committee and make suggestions or questions or whatever you need to do, superintendent or the chair. Personnel, that's report on page 100. Any specific comments on that? Everybody has that in their packet. And we move on to number 10, new business and announcements. Any specific announcements that anyone would like to make? Yes, Dr.
So, I shared this at AFC. So the state legislature and with support of the government is providing some supplemental aid to municipalities expressly for education costs. I think it was $162 million to public schools specifically. And within the statute that that allocated the supplemental aid, there's very specific language that the aid shall be expended for educational purposes only, and italicized, shall be expended upon the authorization of the local or regional board of education. So the aid just came in last week. Everybody's trying to figure out what to do and what this language means. But it seems, so the aid is gonna go through ECS, so we don't get any. As a regional school district, it will go directly to the towns of Bethany, Orange, and Woodbridge, which is where ECS money always goes. It's being sent as kind of like a lump amount, so, is it Bethany that's getting about 70,000?
70,000.
Yep, so they're getting this lump amount of 70,000, but factored into that amount is the proportion that is being allocated because of the Bethany Public Schools and the proportion that's being allocated because students from Bethany go to Amity Regional School District. So, so at some point, I think our Board of Education is going to have to give the authorization to expend that money for educational purposes. I know there are differences of agreements, and we never touch ECS money, so it's weird that we're getting it pulled into this, but it's a supplemental aid package and that's what happens. I know there are disagreements currently, I believe, between how boards of ed and boards of finance are interpreting this. This is revenue, and when revenue comes to Amity, we don't get to spend it. We just return revenue back to the towns as part of our unexpended funds. So no matter how we look at it, the money is just going back to the towns. So but I don't want to create a friction for my other superintendents. So once we all get this figured out, my recommendation for us would be to authorize that the towns use the money for educational expenses. But I'm hoping we can do that by June and then just follow the statute, follow what the expectations are, but at the same time really not exchange money in any sort of way because it just should go to the towns ultimately in the end because it's revenue for us. So just so that you're aware of that, but also if you hear about that, that's where all this is coming from.
It sounds like order of magnitude, it's a drop in the bucket relative to what each member town's contribution is.
It depends on what school district you're in.
Well, but like
But
specific
for
to
us,
our
it's a drop in the
three.
bucket, yes.
So, I mean, you're talking like $70,000 at Bethany versus the, I'm not gonna remember.
40,000 that Orange received.
But I mean,
Yeah.
relative to what they would give to
Yeah.
Amity, we can just say,
take it,
use it to fund.
offset educational expenses, yeah, absolutely. So but it's in the news a lot right now because everybody's talking about this windfall of money that schools got, and it's not quite that.
Getting that.
Okay.
I just-
Anything else? Yes.
Oh, I just have a question. My understanding is that the bond projects have moved through facilities and are now going to the building committee. And the full board will get presentations on the bond project.
So we will present the recommendations that come out of facilities and the building committee, yes, to the board.
Okay, so the recommendations, when the recommendations are presented to the board, and we would like more information about specific bond suggestions, how do we get that?
So I would probably go back to the meeting minutes, notes, and packets from the facilities committees, because all the information that was shared at the facilities committees are in those I would say the minutes are probably more the packets probably are, yeah.
Packets.
So I would go back into the packets
I've already looked at them,
to get to that information.
Yeah, I've looked at them, so there's gonna be specific presentations, I think, full board will need to see.
I feel like we have committees so that the committees can do the work, so that we can make recommendations to the board. I mean, the whole board, if the whole board needed to see it, then the whole board probably should have joined the facilities committee. Our meetings are open and we're there. It seems kind of counterintuitive that, we have committees so that committees can do the work and then report to the board.
I would think that if you have specific questions, that's open to the whole board, but I don't know if we have to do everything that the facilities committee heard in front of the whole board.
Yeah, I mean, the facilities committee has met 4 times, has received presentations from about 6 different people over the projects, so they've, I mean, again, it was a significant amount of time from facilities. I don't know that we need to replicate that
I don't
for
know.
the board, but.
I don't know that we need to replicate it all for the board, but as I expressed in the committee, there was going to be one thing in particular that there would be dissension among this board on, with specific members very heated about that, and that they would likely want to see the full presentation and understand. So I don't think it's fair just to say that the facilities did the work and this is their recommendation, when we know that the whole board has to approve it.
But if there is something that is bothering us, maybe we should say that in advance and and say that we would like a discussion of that in particular, so that way, we can have expectations.
The chair has no objection to having a specific presentation if there's a lot of controversy or questions about it.
So do you want
Having the full
Do you want
presentation.
to talk about it now, or you want to talk about it on June 8th?
Well, why don't you request that it be
We're
presented?
not going to talk about it now because it's not on the agenda.
Right, no,
No,
I'm.
we request it for
Under
new business for June.
What?
I'm asking, that's why I'm asking, so, but be forewarned that on June 8th, we'll be requesting a full presentation on one of the bond projects.
I would say, when the bond projects are ready to go, that's when we get the presentation, when the board has to vote on it. Because other than that, you may have a big discussion and it may never show up.
Okay, fair enough, but just that specific topic was also brought to the entire board in, what was it, August or September of 19. The entire board saw the presentation, so it didn't hang out in facilities. Facilities saw it, had many meetings about it, came to the full board in, I believe it was September of 19.
Okay. All right. Okay, anything else? Without objection, then, the meeting is adjourned at 8:32. Any objections? Thank you all.
Good job finishing it up at 8:30.